Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the series premiere of Let's Go Karaoke. Great series premiere. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. I'm going into this having never read the manga, but I went into it knowing the bare bones of what the premise being. Like, this Yakuza is getting a student to teach him how to sing. I kind of knew, I didn't know the specifics of why. Also didn't realize Satomi, the student, would be a middle schooler. A lot of stuff with middle schoolers now, but I guess it's like, I don't know, just seeing more and more stuff that revolves around that, because I guess most stuff I'm used to, like, it being high schoolers, so just so much stuff I've been watching back to back has been, like, specifically middle schoolers. But anyway, tangent to all that aside, Satomi is in his last year of middle school, and I think that's what adds the pressure to it, where it's like, there's layers to this whole situation, because for Satomi, it's like, we don't know why, but maybe choir is very important to him for a multitude of reasons. Like, maybe singing is his outlet for whatever reason, and maybe it's something he's passionate about, and maybe it's something, maybe like it could be the one thing in his life he feels like he's decently good at, but it seems like he's starting to turn against himself and like have a lot of self-deprecation and very like a lot of self-esteem issues because he's getting older, and because of that, his voice is changing because he's starting to go through puberty, and he's trying to cover up for that, because they were like the competition they're in at the beginning, they don't win gold, they win silver, which is still impressive, but he feels like he let everyone down. He's like, it's my fault, because he's the leader, and he's been a part of this choir group since his first year, so he feels like this attachment, and like he feels like, as a leader, I have to take charge, and I think maybe it felt important and good for him, but I guess now it's kind of become this weight that he's kind of struggling to carry, and especially with this being his final year, he feels probably like, I have to make this count, because if I don't make it, once this is over with, this will be my last time. But also with my voice changing, there's no guarantee my voice will ever be in a position where I can sing some of these songs again or hit the notes. And like when you feel like you might have a talent or something special about that, like when it feels like that's being ripped away from you, because I don't know, Satomi could have built himself around that. Like I said, it could be the one aspect of his life that he feels confident in, and once that's kind of taken away from you, it's like, well, what else do I have? Now, I'm throwing a lot. That's a lot of conjecture on my part. Like, some of that you could probably apply from what we've seen, but even then, a lot of that's conjecture, so I have to wait to see where the story goes to see whether there's any validity to that. But we also get introduced Kyuji, who, he's down bad with his respective situation, when it's like, you're skulking out a middle school choir competition just to find a teacher. And that's where he saw Satomi. He was like, I think you're the best, even though your school won silver. He's like, I still think you guys are the best. You being the leader, you're the one that can teach me to sing. Because they go to karaoke, and he breaks down what the situation is. Like, our boss basically has our entire Yakuza family get together every 3 months. So what was it? February, May, August, and November, and it has to be like basically a competition of, and our boss, the problem is he's got perfect pitch, and so he's killing it. It's great and everything, but the problem is he wants each and every one of us to sing, and if we're like messed up at any point in time, he'll give us marks on the things that we did wrong, and then he'll tally up the marks and see what everyone's scores there. And I guess the lowest of the low ends up getting a tattoo. And not just like, some professional tattooer is doing it. No, the boss is going to do it. In fact, he's training under a pretty good tattoo artist, but he's still an amateur, a novice, and he sucks, and he wants to like do it by hand, and he always picks the most painful part of the body to put the tattoo on. And he also takes motifs of things you are afraid of. Like, one guy was like, I'm kind of afraid of Hello Kitty. So what does the boss do? He tattoos Hello Kitty on his hand. And it's like, honestly, because the boss isn't so good, it didn't turn out so bad. I mean, it turned out bad, but it was bad in a good way, rather, because if it was good, it'd be bad. But now it's bad, but it's in a good way, and so the guy can tolerate it. But it's like, because Kyuji's like, one or two more tattoos, that's nothing. The issue is the boss is doing it. And the last thing, I don't want to, because like he doesn't take any breaks. He goes through it, and it's just he's poking you without stopping, and he picks the worst spots. I don't want to go through it. And it's like, That's the premise of this story. This Yakuza guy wants to learn how to sing from a middle schooler so he doesn't get tattooed by his boss. That's, once again, the specifics of this story I did not know. So that's a wild premise. There are rules to the whole situation because Kyuji goes into it later on of well, you can't. There's a kind of an unspoken rule. You don't pick the same song as someone else. You also don't pick a very specific song that the boss likes because he's perfectly fine with a girl singing it because he feels like a girl should sing the song because of specifically because of some of the line delivery. So it's the last thing I want is an old man to sing to me, an old man, a song that's kind of lovely, entrancing type of song. And it's the guy who did that kind of got stopped even before he got through the intro, apparently. I don't remember what they said would happen to him, but still. Kyuji has his go-to song and he starts to perform it, and I love that even Satomi was yeah, literally what was it, the intro was 42 seconds long. He's I could have left then. Even the interlude was 24 seconds or something. But what does he do? He just gets up, orders some fried rice, and starts eating. And I just love it. It's just how it's done and animated. But your boy Kyoji is in the background doing this thing. You see him head banging and stuff like that. I'm I love how super into it he gets. But it's obviously it's such a fundamental part of their Yakuza family that it makes sense why you got to get into it. I mean, that's probably just his personality, but considering the Yakuza he's from, it's probably you kind of have to lean into it a bit, right? And so he was how was that? And it's well, your falsetto was kind of messed up. He's what? It's yeah, other bits of the song show that you got a pretty good singing voice. So Satomi's suggestion is pick a song that you're a lot more comfortable with, an easier song that's good for you, because you literally picked a song that is difficult for most average men. He's your voice is lower than most average men, so it's going to be even harder for you to hit some of those falsetto notes. So he's kind of yeah, you shouldn't do that. So pick a different song, which he tries one later on, and it's kind of all right, that's definitely a better fit. But I think that was because he has a special attachment to this particular song because it's that song he sung has always gotten him through the competitions. He's never been at the bottom of the barrel, but once again, he doesn't want to be on the chopping block or even come close to being on a chopping block. So he is going to take Satomi's advice, but it is that conversation of, once again, have to be careful about what songs you pick because you don't want anyone else to pick the same song as you because that could be an issue. Because that, God forbid, you prepared one particular song and then the person ahead of you ends up singing it. That sucks. Because that was also the point. Yeah, someone kind of got screwed over by the fact is that someone else sang the same song. And it's the last thing we want to hear is you complaining about it too. So you want to have something you probably want to have something prepared in your back pocket just in case someone takes your song. But it might be a thing of you need to register ahead of time of what song you were going to sing. But there probably, like I said, probably is a good chance you want to probably practice a couple songs just to make sure. I'm curious whether this folds into the show other than probably just musically because I think the song that they were talking about where it's the boss didn't like it because he would normally want a woman to sing. I think that's the woman we were seeing it's her 8th album. You saw a little bit on the TV. I think it was probably her song in particular because while they're having that conversation, she was on TV. So I don't know if she's going to come into the story in any other facet other than her music, and maybe she'll be a background element to the story, but I don't think she'll be a character in the story. Once again, having never read the manga, I don't know. The upcoming competition, what was it, a summer festival singing thing that the choir is going to be doing. This is the last time for the third years, which once again includes Satomi. And him and what was the other girl's name? I think it's Nagakawa, maybe. They're both having a very important part that they need to practice. I don't know if the teacher gave her an understudy. Definitely gave a understudy or alt for Satomi, and it's his friend Wada, who's, I think he's a first year, maybe he's a second year. You could tell he kind of feels a little awkward about it because she's yeah, just in case, Satomi gets sick or just can't perform. And that's just that just hits Satomi even harder because it's just kind of like, oh, like he was like, right, I got this, but her even giving him an understudy makes him go like, right, she has her doubts, and so he's struggling to hit those high notes, and he's like, right, I tried to cover it up, but obviously the teacher giving me an understudy means that she noticed it too, so he once again feels like he's letting everyone down, kind of feels a bit of a fit, but like I said, even his friend was kind of looking almost nervous, like, oh, like he can tell like how much that was like hurting Satomi to hear, because that was probably his position was probably never questioned before. It was always like, yo, he's a leader, like we don't need anyone to kind of be his understudy, we can count on him. But now it's kind of like, well, maybe something else will come up. And so when it's raining later, he's kind of like, yeah, it might be easier just to be sick, because he's like, right, like I'm just going to screw things up, I'm going to be a failure, like it might be better for me just to bow out, just get sick and not have, and that'd be the perfect excuse not to show up, because he's just afraid to try, because like if I put myself in that position, I'm just gonna let everyone down again. But luckily, Kyoji shows up with an umbrella and is like, yo, I can't let my teacher be getting sick. And in the car, there's someone on the radio. Basically, it was someone that was like a student that was like, yo, it's basically they kind of missed some points in a basketball game, and this was going to be like their final like try, and now like it's over. So basically, a more sports parallel to Satomi's exact situation. But the radio person host was like, yeah, but I get it, like you'll go through stuff, and the rain, it'll make you feel like this is the end, and it's okay to feel sad, but know that the sun will shine. Like it doesn't rain all the time, then eventually the rain will go away, and then the sun will kind of shine through. So while in the car, the song plays, and Kyoji is singing it, well, humming it and singing it, but then Satomi was like, your pitch is off. And then for him, it's just kind of like, okay, like I want to get paid going forward. It's like, what? It's like, honestly, I'm doing this in my free time. It's like, well, what do you want? He's like, well, the fried rice and the parfaits are enough. And Kyoji's like, okay, I could definitely keep that going, because he's like, man, the way you're haggling, it's like, yo, that's pretty much a Yakuza movie. He's like, the last thing I want to hear is how much I sound like a Yakuza from a Yakuza member. But for Satomi, it's like, well, I'll keep hanging out with you. And I love as that scene is coming to an end and the episode's coming to an end, it stops raining and the sun shines. A beautiful, parallel tying into that radio conversation. But I think it's for Satomi, it's like someone kind of believing in him when he doesn't believe in himself. It just feels kind of nice to, I guess when he feels like he's letting down everyone else, he felt like, I mean, for one, it's an awkward, crazy situation to be in, like, yo, I'm teaching a Yakuza person how to sing, but also it just felt like, what can I offer you? I can't offer you, a Yakuza member, anything, but I think it could also expand to him feeling like, what do I have to offer anyone right now? And feeling like he can be of use to someone that Kyoji sees him as someone of value in that regard, I think means something. Like that's why stuff like that, like I said, makes me feel like he's built so much of his self-esteem around that, and now that's kind of taken from him. Like the one thing he felt good at is kind of being his undoing. Like I said, speculative on my part. We'll have to wait to see where things go, but I mean, I think it seems like a fun and interesting premise to continue down. I'm excited to see where the story goes next. But really, that's all I want to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.